I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass.
Welcome to the Under Construction Cast. Join us as we have discussions on various topics meant to challenge your ways of thinking. Today we're on part 2 of our conversation, the male perspective on women in marriage. I think when we left off, we're going to talk about marriage specifically. So what are some thoughts when it comes to marriage as far as, let's think about, I think we talked about like what the criteria were that we were thinking about for women in our lives last pod. So let's talk about the ceremony a little bit, right? That's something that men oftentimes are afterthoughts of.
Yeah.
At least in my perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good
so
point.
like let's jump into it.
So even before the ceremony, I got married when I was like 25, but even the ring, the proposal, that's a huge thing, right? For me, I ain't even want to do it. I was one of those guys. I thought I was too gangster and hood for everything. Too cool, too tough. You know what I mean? Okay. So, but my dad had to knock that out of me. Like, nah, bro, you gonna get on one knee and you gonna do it the right way. So I ended up doing it on Thanksgiving Day in front of my whole entire family. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So that's what I ended up doing. And but the crazy thing is, it wasn't a surprise. It was a surprise. Me and my wife had already discussed. We've been together 5 years, so we might as well just go ahead and get married. So she didn't know when I was gonna do it,
but she knew you was gonna do it.
But she knew I was gonna do it. You know what I mean? Because we already had plans. Yo, we about to get married. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it worked with me. So I'll just leave that engagement part. We can get to the wedding unless you guys want to talk about that engagement part for you. How was it for you?
How did you ask?
Mine is completely different. Mine is
Go ahead.
So mine is not the prettiest story. So no, we were. It was just like a spur of the moment kind of thing for us. So basically, it was just. I think it was a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, middle of the day. I was trying to get everything, not necessarily. I had planned to get married, but I didn't have like the whole proposal and stuff like that. Like I didn't have that process. I just was like, "Hey, let's get married," kind of thing.
Oh, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right to it.
That went straight
Right.
to it. Ain't nothing wrong with that
wow.
either.
Okay.
Yeah, we were 22.
Okay.
Well, I was 22. She was 21.
So y'all went straight to get married. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
It was very quick process, quick turnaround. Just kind of ran into it.
Nice. For me, mine was a little different. I put a little bit of thought into mine, because being that like men are oftentimes afterthoughts. Nobody really asks men these type of questions. Like, how many times have anybody asked you how you asked the question?
Never.
Right? But I knew that everyone was going to want to know how I asked her to be my wife, right? So I wanted that to be special because, like, oh, well, how'd he pop the question, right? Like, nobody cares about, like, oh, you popped the question, what'd you do? Nobody cares, bro. Ask her, you know what I mean? But for me, I wanted that to also be a special part, right? Because that's probably the first time you get engaged, right? You're probably going to be telling that story over and over and over, right? Because everyone's going to want to know once they see the ring, sort of thing. I'm not a big gesture guy, right? But I wanted that thing to be special, so I actually proposed to my wife at the time on a plane. We're flying to California, which is a long flight, right? So completely shocked, right? So before we even got on the plane, spoke to the flight attendants. I was like, listen, I'm gonna ask this chick to marry me. Like, let me know when the middle of the flight is. She was like, sir, it's like a 8-hour flight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it was that long, but whatever. Massachusetts to Cali, it's a long flight, right?
flight.
It was a direct flight. You know what I mean? So we're like, she's like, it's gonna be somewhere over Colorado. Okay, I mean, I don't know where we at.
Yep.
Just let me know. You know what I'm saying? So she kind of gave me the cue, you know what I mean? And I just gave her a little like a business card. She was like, yo, what's that? You know what I mean? So she made an announcement over to PA. Like, we have an announcement for, so-and-so. And she's like, oh, somebody's got the same name. She was like, sitting in airplane seat, blah, 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 in row. She's like, row C, 2 seat. Oh, like, my name, same row, same. And then by the time she figured it out, I was coming back from the bathroom, and I just dropped down on my knee and asked her.
Dope.
You know what I mean? So that's how I did it. But I just wanted the story to be dope. And I was like, yo, how many people get engaged at 30,000 feet? You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of, you know what I'm saying, how I did it.
Love it.
But nobody cared.
I've never done it.
Nobody's ever
It's
asked.
okay.
Nobody's
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
asked me like how I put thought into it or anything like that. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Because like
So if you
nobody
so
cares.
question, how? Yeah, I know
You can't do
never
that. You
done
can't
it.
do that. You can't.
Yes,
No,
we
I
can.
won't go into detail.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
but,
go.
but would you be? How do you see yourself? Would you be thoughtful about it, or would you just?
Oh, of course. Like, I'm very thoughtful.
I know you are. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, top to bottom. Like, I'm a thoughtful guy. I mean, plain and simple. In high school, like me and my lady, like anybody knows my lady, like we were friends growing up. So we grew up as friends. In high school, we wrote a book of poetry together.
Nice.
So it would probably be something incorporating the fact that we wrote something together.
Good.
And something about that would have to be a part of the process.
Okay.
In order to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just
Sure. Yep.
because like that's the origin of like how we
That's how it
Yes.
started.
like,
Right,
yes,
right.
since we were cool and you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
other than that, like I mean I won't get into the particulars
Yeah,
of
of
exactly
course.
how I would do it because
Right.
God forbid I actually followed it through to what I'm thinking right this second.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
She'd be like, I know what you're doing, bro.
Right.
You gotta keep the
I saw that
surprise.
episode.
But yeah, like you know what I mean? Like it would definitely be a thoughtful thing.
Good.
Probably very private, probably minimal.
Yep.
And like trying to find a balance between private and public. You know, letting enough people know.
Yeah.
But still keeping it like quaint because that's just more like
Yep.
our energy collectively.
Sure.
But other than that, yeah. I mean, I look forward to that day.
Awesome.
Dope.
Definitely not something I'm shying away from.
Yep. Good. Beautiful.
So you said yours was kind of spur of the moment thing.
Spur of the moment,
Big
yes,
ceremony for you.
So no, like I said, we said this off air. We were very young when we got married, so I was like 25. But this is what 15 years ago, and
We got married the same year.
yep, 2012.
Oh no. I think yes.
So I'm getting. It's been
get
a
that
long
right,
time.
bro.
I could be saying wrong numbers.
No, it's
I hope I ain't
2013,
saying wrong
2013.
numbers, but you know,
2013.
I hope she will watch. But I could be saying the wrong
2013
numbers.
in April.
Okay,
That
mine was
that's-
12.
Oh yeah.
In March, on March 31st, which was my mom's birthday, and her birthday is April 1st. So we just kind of incorporated around that all at the same time. I regret it now. I wish
Everything's
hate it
back
now.
to back.
Lot
Back to
to
Yeah.
back. That's a lot of money
too
right
much
there.
now.
I get it.
So we were young. So our thing was we were already together. So rewind. We were in a relationship 5 or 6 years prior to getting married. We were shacking. Right? We were shacking. Right? But so even though I know now it wasn't the right thing to do, I'm happy that we did it that way. Just being honest. You know what I mean? Because we got to learn each other.
Topic.
Yeah, that is. I know it wasn't the right thing to do because, based on scripturally, but things worked out.
It's a test
right?
drive.
It don't always work out for everybody like
Right.
that.
Test
You know
drive.
what I mean?
How you
But
gonna know? How you gonna know if you really
we
want
ain't
to buy
going
the
that
car?
way, bro.
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying.
No, I don't even
like,
mean like
this
physically,
exodus
but I
right
mean like the
here.
whole experience.
The whole experience,
Like
yep.
you know what I mean? Like like at the end of the day, like some people keep a messy house.
Yeah.
Some people, you know what I mean? Like y'all may not have the same hygienic standards
Yep,
in the
yep,
home.
yep.
And you know what I mean? Like you could like I wouldn't want to find that out after I make the
Commitment.
The
The
left
Nesty plunge.
like that's a wild commitment.
Yeah, it
and then
is.
we just fed
Take
everybody
your time
dinner.
to get to know one
And then I
another.
find out you don't. And then I find out you don't like to sweep every
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Be like,
I think it's
wow.
important to take your time to get to know one another, and not just physically. You know what I mean?
Yes,
but
right,
like
right,
you
right.
said, like I know people that were dating for 2 or 3 years and never had sex with one another, but they got to know with one another before they made that commitment. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think so. But our wedding, we literally we said, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We knew we was getting married in March. Whatever we get from our taxes, we're gonna take that tax money and that's going towards our wedding. We had our marriage at the church. We ain't pay for that. Obviously, you know what I mean? We had, obviously, they paid for, my mom helped her purchase her dress because her mom died when my son was 1 year old.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So that's a whole nother story because when her mom passed, her father had already passed when she was 8. So she had no parents. Me, when my son was 1, it was like, I got to become a man overnight. I felt like now she's the only person I have. You know what I mean? Like I was 21 years old, you know? So it was like, I got to become a man because I have, she wasn't my wife, but I have the mother of my child at that time and my son. You know what I mean? She was staying at her mom's crib. You was like, you know what I mean? It was like, time to grow up, Cordell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instantly, you know what I mean? So, but it worked out. But when I was back to the wedding, it was like, I had my uncle marry us, and then we went to Tony and Penny's.
Oh, okay.
Up there. We had our reception up there. They catered the food. We only spent about $2,000 at there. It was for like 50, 60 people. And then we took, my uncle told me about this place in Conway, New Hampshire or something, where they got these themed rooms.
Oh, okay.
It was nice, and we was there for the weekend, and that was our honeymoon, and we was happy. You know what I mean? And good old wedding. But we're happy to this day.
Smooth.
That's beautiful.
Smooth. Smooth. I got married in the church. I felt like that was super important. Most important part, like I felt like the reception is like just a party. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a celebration. But the reason why we were there was to confess our love for one another and our commitment with one another before God.
Right.
First and foremost. So I feel like any time that I would be involved in a wedding or something like that, for me, it has to be in church because I need that connection to God. Afterward, it was just a cool party. You know what I mean? Like you went out. It was very, very small. You know what I'm saying? I think we had like 80 people, but everything was catered. You know what I'm saying? We went out and had, you know what I'm saying, our caterer was super dope. For me, I'm a foodie, you know what I mean? So like going out and getting bacon wrapped scallops was not the wave for me, you know what I mean? Going to those venues where they're like, oh, we've done this so many times and we've got a menu and you can pick from the menu. I was like, I don't want anything on your menu. I want to pick. I want to have a food tasting. I want to know what you prepare the best possible way. You know what I'm saying? We ended up having because we got married in July. It was super hot. And we were outside, so we ended up having like a chilled strawberry soup. Never even had it before. You know what I mean? Tasted it at the food tasting and was like, "Yo, got to have that." And people still talk about it to this day. You know what I mean? People that were there were like, "Yo, what was that soup you had?" I'm like, "The strawberry soup." That joint was like, "Yeah, but the soup was cold." It was 95 degrees that day.
Yeah,
the chilled soup was fire. Like, let me get 2 of those. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But it was like it was important for us to like feed people great food, you know what I mean? Because that was like something that we enjoyed and something that we used to go out to do and enjoy that sort of stuff all the time. So the caterer that we picked out of Northampton, super dope guy, super accomplished chef, and then picked out a nice DJ. You know what I mean? Everybody, family, all those people were there, and just a select group of people that really knew the two of us. You know what I mean? It was a small wedding, but it was all the important people to the two of us.
Yeah, me
you
too.
Know what I mean?
Same thing.
And that's what was important to us. Like I wasn't trying to have 300-400 people there because that wasn't in my budget. And although like we had a pretty healthy budget, I wasn't trying to spend that to feed a whole bunch of people that I don't care about.
Yep.
I'd rather feed a few people well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed,
When people
for
like, yo, your menu is crazy, bro. I couldn't like, yo, how much was this? Like, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just know that because you're here, we're taking care of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like we were saying earlier. I don't invite people to my place and then be like, yo, I'm gonna charge you for the toilet paper and the juice and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like if you're gonna come, this is how I get down. You know what I'm saying? And she was on board with that. So, you know what I mean? It was pretty dope.
You know what I like about all three of our talked about our wedding? They all were different. And the one thing I want to encourage people out there, there's no wrong way to do it.
Not at all.
There is no. I've seen. I was on Facebook. I was watching. There was this couple. They was literally in their street clothes. They was outside, and they was like, "Yo, we need to get married right now." Like, there is no wrong way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what it's important. Stop letting society paint a picture of this is how a wedding's supposed to be. You got to spend $50,000. You got to have a destination wedding. I would recommend stay within your budget because y'all got to live the next day. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it to where y'all not going to be able to sustain your lifestyle because at the end of the day, even if you don't want to invite nobody and y'all just go out on your honey, do it whatever way y'all want to do it. There is no wrong way to do it. But I would say just do it, you know?
And remember that the ceremony is the most important thing. Everything else is just a party. I can have a party in my backyard. I can have my party at a venue. I can have a party anywhere. But the important part is that you guys are making that commitment to each other in front of the people that are important to you, and ultimately the commitment before God.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to. So I mean, I think it's important to get married if that's what you want to do, but also like if that's the type of life you're trying to live. Like, don't just do it because I think the biggest thing is don't do it because people tell you to.
Yeah.
Or people tell you you're supposed to. Like, I'm a Christian and I'm big on marriage. Absolutely. However, I'm not big on being pressured to do something if you're not ready to do it.
Agreed.
Because what will happen is if you're pressured to do it, a lot of times is you'll do it because you're told to do it, but then at some point that fades away.
Bro, it's better to marry than to burn, bro.
That's what people say. And it fades, and then what happens is some people, like, because I take it seriously that a marriage is between you, your spouse, and God.
Yes, it is.
And there's going to be, like, if we're just going to call a spade, marriage is hard. There's going to be some stuff that doesn't go the way you want it to go. It's not going to, like, the arguments are going to be hard. Like, and it's stuff that you care about. You care about the stuff that you're talking about, and you also care about the person that you're arguing with. And it's supposed to be you and them versus the thing. But a lot of times we get those things confused or clouded. So what I would say is be true to yourself. Be true to your spouse or to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whoever this person may be, and be honest with each other, because you're gonna have to live with it.
Man, I think because you said like there's not always good days, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What I think when I think about that, it brought me to the fact of like you're literally merging lives with someone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what's important about merging lives with someone is simultaneously you still do have an individual experience. But now someone's everything matters to you too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could have a great day, right? But she could be simultaneously having a horrible day, right? And now that has to matter to you.
Right.
I hate to say it, but if you want to be a selfish boyfriend,
It's not gonna work.
you can. If you want to be a selfish boyfriend, but it's really not going to work if you're a selfish husband.
Got you.
Like you've decided, like amongst all the humans in the world, you want to take one off the board for you.
Yep.
Right.
You want to be that territorial.
Right.
You want to put it on paper and say this is me.
Right.
And now you want to be mad that they having a bad day and they bringing it to you. You asking for trouble.
Right.
They mess around and bring it to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's but yeah, I want to go into, I know we just talked about the wedding. Let's talk about like everyday marriage. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think one thing that stands out to me is whatever happens between y'all, keep it between y'all.
Oh my God. Say that again for the people.
Whatever
in the back.
happens between you and your wife, stays between y'all, not mom and pops.
Yeah, that don't mean go tell your parents, go tell your auntie, and don't tell your cousin because they're not in your marriage. And ultimately, if you guys love each other, you can have a knockdown, drag out, but you two should last and you should make it through that.
Yep.
But all the people that you brought into your business are going to feel some way about that man, and now they could be the poison that's getting poured into you anytime something happens.
Yep.
So y'all don't communicate anything to anyone?
I wouldn't say that much, but I do what I told my wife in the past when we were brought into the quarrels of somebody else's marriage. So we were told what happened. And what I told her is you got to be careful when you're telling people what's happening in your marriage, because people have different relationships. And when they forgive that person, because you have a separate relationship,
You're gonna be mad.
you're still gonna be mad.
100%.
And you're still gonna feel some type of way because you don't have the same relationship. You don't know all the things that goes on. So like you're gonna still have those feelings, but you're not gonna be able to justify them or to correct them or anything like that because you don't have that same relationship. And that's what happens to your point or to Cordell's point in marriages. You talk to somebody, and I think the Bible says to seek wise counsel.
Wise.
So
I was about to say that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, my
No,
bad.
I mean, because more or less, I was about to say like, mom's the word to just anyone.
Right.
Everyone doesn't deserve your information.
Right.
But I'm big on like an approved
Yes.
source.
Yes.
And I mean literally approved.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, babe, this is my homegirl. She's kind of wild. Nah.
Right. Nah, we got to vet people.
100%.
That's
Like,
true.
on a good day. Like, it's cool that that's
100%.
your friend.
Yeah,
and
right.
you manage her idiosyncrasies and her quirks on your own time. But the thing is like, I don't want to put our love in her hands.
Yes.
Right.
As far as her co-signing what we got
Yes.
going on.
Right.
And see, the thing is like, I'm giving her the same space to say that about one of my boys.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's who I'm saying, like, yo, when I go through it, I go to that, like, he's not it.
Right. Absolutely.
Like at the end of the day, like the life somebody lives makes them an approved source.
I agree.
Right.
And it's like, okay, like, oh nah, he's got a good head on his shoulders. Like, and it could be a person that's single, it could be a person that doesn't have kids, it
Yep.
could be a person with kids, it could be a person that's married. It
could
like
be
what
whoever.
what do you feel about his character? What do I feel about her character?
Yep.
Cool. We mutually agree that's our approved source. That means if we go through something, I can vent.
Right.
That's my. He's gonna tell me, like, you know that he'll tell me, yo, bro, you sound kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? And
I
he'll say
agree. I
out of
agree with
love.
that to an extent. Like, I feel like my source would have to also be married. I agree with everything you're saying to that degree. But going there can't tell been there how to get there.
Well, my thing is always wisdom.
Right. Yeah.
Because, like, I mean,
But how can they be wise in something they haven't experienced or they haven't lived?
Well, one thing I will say is I would never, this is me considering myself not to be a dumb person, but definitely ignorant on marriage life. Only because I have not lived a married life.
Right.
I can only relate living with
Yeah.
a significant other, relationship wise,
Yeah.
and I can relate to marriages I have seen.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
I would never speak from a space. Like, I can hear you. I can be a safe place for you to vent. Cause like my thing is like, yo, you could tell me something and I'll be like, okay, you may need to get that off.
Yeah.
To your point about everybody doesn't have the same stake in your person as you.
Yep.
Right,
So now,
right.
like at the end of the day, like now y'all got into it, now y'all make up, and now I'm looking at her crazy when we have the next game night.
Right.
Right.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah,
Right,
So when I
right,
say
right,
a
right.
trusted source,
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
never gonna look at your lady no different just
Yep.
because you having a
But to
tough
your
day.
point-
Yeah.
Get it off.
Yeah.
Because I know I be needing to get mine off. Because sometimes,
For sure.
me and my lady ain't eye to eye. She taller than me. It's what it is.
She is though.
Said it, I'm looking crazy. But
think-
not.
Go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
So yeah, so I think to your point, we got to seek wise counsel, and to your point, I agree. I think it could be anyone, but I think it depends on that person's level of maturity and wisdom. Because, like, for me, like, I don't know how many marriages I talked about while I was still single, but I did give advice, and I looked at it from the point of view as what I told my friends were, if we're gonna be friends, if you're gonna ask me for advice, I just want to give you a caveat. I'm not the type of friend who's just gonna agree with you because we're friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna tell you where you're right. I'm gonna tell you where you're wrong. Like, I'm gonna dissect the situation. You got to tell me both parts. You got to tell me what actually happened, kind of thing. Like, because I'm not gonna just believe they did something wild and you didn't do nothing. Like, something had to happen. What did you say? What did you do? Kind of thing. Not to say that it's impossible, but like something triggered that thing. So like that's why I'm like, it could be either person, but I do agree also that person should be vetted by both parties.
There's some, but I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying because there's some issues that I'm not
You won't
gonna
get
know.
right.
I'm not gonna understand just because I've never been married.
Yeah.
I understand that totally. But I can personally say, and this is probably like a high number, because I don't know if everybody's done that. I can personally say I know I've saved 2 marriages.
That's dope.
like just from a friendship standpoint,
Yeah.
and their spouse would never know it or nothing.
That's fire.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just I know. Like when the going got tough, the conversations we had like helped them get there.
Yep.
That's fire.
I think another everyday aspect is, let's be honest, the sex.
Yo, that's real.
I think in a marriage couple, that's huge, especially for a man.
Right.
We're built different.
Yeah, both.
Well, both. I'm just saying, but you know what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
we need it. Like men, we need it.
It's a
Let's be
physical thing
honest,
for us.
You know
We
what I
like it
mean?
for
So
sure.
I think that is very important when it comes to marriage.
Question.
Go for it.
So to your point, and point about shacking, couples that are living a saved life and don't engage prior to, well, if they're going with the on paper goal, no premarital sex.
Right.
What do you do when you feel like y'all just not developing the chemistry after you get married?
So I think
an interesting
That
question.
is an interesting question.
That's an interesting question.
In a
Because they
perfect,
say you're
in a-
supposed, like the love should be able to be enough for y'all to be able to mesh, and
it should
over
be.
time
in a
you'll
perfect
grow and-
world.
So,
So
I mean,
in a perfect world, though, if neither one of y'all experienced it, you should
Exactly.
be growing together.
If neither one of you experienced it, you wouldn't have anything to,
but what happens is
to grade it against.
Exactly. If it's both of our first time, we're learning in this thing together. What happens is the enemy comes in and perverts the young men. They're watching porn. They think it's supposed to be done this way. They're doing this. Girl's a virgin. Now she's not performing based on what you've been watching. And you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of that plays into account. You know what I mean?
it's funny.
So
I feel like honestly though,
understand
like
that element, but
the
go ahead.
roles are oftentimes reversed though. Like
I
in
was
that,
gonna
in that,
say,
in that scenario
be.
where
It
it's
could be
like
both.
the guy is perverted, like women have way more access to sex than
I was
men do.
about to say.
You know what I'm saying? Women are very selective in who they choose
Very
true.
to
Very true.
spend time with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's easy. You know what I'm saying? It's like I remember back in high school, all the dudes from college to come back with their whips, and I'm like, yo, I don't have access to a job and money. Like
Yep.
you
Right,
riding it
How am I
off with this
supposed to mess
dude,
with him?
but how am I supposed to compete with that? But
Right.
they was competing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With us. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
But they made an easier selection for them. So women have, and it's like, I think even too, when they speak to like women being like, oh, women mature faster. I'm like, no, women are put in more mature situations faster because they're dealing with dudes who are oftentimes older than them
Yeah.
that are making them have to live these kind of like lifestyles where they have to make these sort of decisions
That makes-
where they have to mature faster.
No, you know
I
what
never
the
thought about it that
unpacking
way.
of that is? That starts in the household too. Because little girls are taught like all these nurturing things super early. Like they, like you know what I mean? Like even if you think about like a
Baby
traditional
dolls.
successful, not that far, but like a traditional successful household, like you would like teach your little girl how to cook. Like you're gonna need to be able to prepare food for your family. Like you letting the boy run outside, run around, play, have a blast, whatever. You're teaching her all these like, yo, one day you're gonna be taking care of a house. Do
Yep.
this, do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And like you're going from that to somebody slightly older than you trying to date you. Like that's a lot of adult responsibility.
Ability,
Watch
right.
your younger sibling. Like God forbid, like you know,
Right,
lucky for
right.
you, your daughter's the youngest.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like God forbid you're older and you're the girl, like you're almost like set up or like slightly
like a mother.
societally nudged to early motherhood.
I never thought about that.
Nah, that happens a
You're
lot.
given like this fast track course to like, yo, take care of your little brother.
Yeah.
Like cook the food. Like do this, do that. And then you walk into school and like everybody driving that's trying to talk to you, you only at walking age. It's right there.
You have to mature faster.
yeah.
So the question is, how do you go back to your original question? It was like, how do you keep that? Y'all got married and the sex drive is not there anymore. I ain't never experienced that, so I'm also. I don't know.
But what I was saying,
I'm
no,
just
but
being honest, bro. I ain't got no answer for that one, bro.
no,
My man said I ain't never had that problem
no,
before.
because when you revert, like you
Yep.
had said, like the guy would have like these expectations or lofty expectations
Yeah.
in the bedroom due to like all the media he consumes,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
porn
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
it is.
Right, right.
But if we even reverse it and like remove some of the ego,
Yep.
like you know what I'm saying, like let's say the guy's not pleasing the girl. That happens too.
Yep.
Like you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like now it's like, okay, whatever you could do, like you're trying to figure out moves,
Yeah,
you're trying to see what you could get into, and like it's not clicking.
I mean,
Like I'm like, what would they do? Like when they already decided to get married, is a carnal reason or reason enough to
So to get
remove a
divorced?
connection? I'm
think-
asking.
I think it's the maturity of the relationship, right? Is the woman mature enough to be able to say, hey, like, this isn't working for me? One, right? Is the guy mature enough to handle the fact that his lady is telling him that and that she wants to work on it? Because it's easier for her to be like, yo, I can go get that anywhere else outside and keep a good man who works and takes care of me. You know what I'm saying? So
Like,
there's a lot that goes on to it.
Sex is so sensitive that like the ego comes into play on both sides,
Absolutely.
male or female.
For sure.
So like, you know what I mean? Like, so if a guy is saying there's something that he wants that she's like, oh, well, what's wrong with you that you want that? Or the inverse. Like the guy will like be speaking disparagingly on the lady because he doesn't want to feel disparagingly about himself.
Yep. So
you
I
know
mean,
what I mean? Like it just
Or she has more experience than him, and he's like, yo, how'd you even learn that? I'm like,
Lord.
where that come from?
Oh man.
But nah, so I mean, so I don't know if it's grounds for divorce. That
Whoa,
wouldn't.
throw out the D word. That's heavy.
Yeah,
No, that's what I
what he asked.
Because I said like I was like,
Right.
yo, what,
So
like, what
speaking
do
of
you
that,
do?
to me, just
The Bible says
dialing back,
sexual immorality.
dialing back though, I think for all of us, that word is not even on the table.
So
For me, that's my personal thing. That
So
word is not
it's-
on the table. It better not come out of my mouth. It
depends.
better not come out of her mouth.
Divorce?
Yeah, that word's
So
not on
it
the table for
depends.
us.
It depends.
My
on,
household, we don't talk about.
It
That's not on the
depends
table.
on the maturity of both people in the relationship. Like, all right, so like we were talking about, one, it's gonna depend on are you saved or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you're saved and you're living a life for Jesus and stuff like that, you're trying to do your best to live for Christ. There's going to be things that your partner is going to fall short in. Now, this is a physical thing, which is going to be tough if that's what you're used to or accustomed to. But at the same time, like, can you deny your flesh? Like, that's a spiritual walk. That's a spiritual question for yourself.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to take a detour on that one because this is gonna break down into a whole third segment, and I think we're gonna cut it off right here before we get too deep into it because I feel like that is gonna take us into a whole different space. So respectfully,
I got you.
kind of let's save that one for next week, and we'll jump back into that one because I think that could be dope, and I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure y'all do as well. You know what I mean? But what we're gonna do for now is let you guys know that we want you to come back. We're probably going to do a part 3 of this conversation. We're going to jump right in where we left off. And as always, we want you to keep building.
Peace.
I'm working on the building. It's the truth. I'm